Are you ready to create a life you crave? Let's spin that doom loop of negativity into an upward success cycle and start living lucky.
Good morning.
I'm Jana.
I'm Jason.
And we are living lucky.
You are too.
Jason went to St. Pete over the weekend.
I did.
And he did some Hurricane Helene cleanup.
Hurricane Helene relief and cleanup. And
after seeing your videos and your pictures, I will never make fun of weather woodies again. I take everything I said back.
I love that you want to take it back, but
Shame on me.
I also believe that we do have to keep our sense of humor.
I know, but what I saw in the photos and in the videos and in the people that you were helping, there is devastation.
And that's one of the things that we see on the news, right? And it's very fear-based and destruction-oriented. However, being down there with the people that were living it.
You said they were in good spirits.
It was incredible. And now I don't know what it was like directly after the hurricane. And I didn't ask because you don't take someone that's in good spirits and is in rebuild.
And say, hey, let me just pull you down.
And has momentum and say, what was it like right after the storm? Like a news reporter would. Because they want that emotion
feeling.
and that feeling and that they want the regression.
Yeah, you're right.
Because you have to pay to get back out of the regression. Right. Like we pay with our time and our investments or our money, and the news wants that. But what I experienced was this community of togetherness and oneness. Like there were trucks of people just volunteering. I got goosebumps right now. Bringing hot meals.
You get goosies for every podcast we do. Every podcast. I think that your spirit guides come in and give you goosies.
I think they do too, because I feel like this is something that we love doing. And it's one of the times where we really, we have these deep conversations a lot throughout the day, but when we're sharing it.
Yes.
And I love sharing the things that we talk about on a regular basis with our community and the people that want to live that better life.
Okay, I didn't mean to derail you.
People were coming through in trucks, like all kinds of pickup trucks, a lot of Toyotas, and they would have the backs full of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, hot meals, water, Gatorade, and just being there to lend a hand and lend a smile, lend an encouraging word.
You went with your group of friends.
Yeah, we had 10 people that went down.
And yet you said there was just a random stranger that ended up in your group.
Oh my gosh.
And you had no idea who this person was. And all of a sudden you were looking around, you're like, I don't know who this girl is.
First of all, she was adorable.
Okay.
Like she was probably, I'm going to guess because I'm horrible with age, but 19 or 20.
Okay.
Like maybe in college or something down there. And she shows up and she looks this, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way at all, but she just looks like a scarecrow. Like she's thin. She looks like a twig. Like any kind of manual labor is going to break her in half.
And if you see the pictures, so just to kind of fill in the gaps here, the pictures, there's like washers and dryers and appliances and drywall and boards
6 to 8 feet high outside
that are all stacked all along the road for miles that need to be loaded into trucks and loaded away.
And we were workhorses yesterday from sun up to sundown.
Right.
And she showed up and she's like, put me to work. And it was wonderful because I was like, a lot of times we don't step into something new because we're worried about who are we going to meet? How are they going to respond? What are they going to think about me? And when you don't know anyone and you're just walking up and you seem frail, like it could be a dangerous situation.
Yes.
But she showed up and she said, how can I be of help? How can I serve here? And it was just stepped right in and she worked her tail off the whole time.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I didn't doubt she was going to, but it was like, you just don't expect, like you expect groups to get together beforehand. And I don't expect to see a singular person going out and saying, how can I be here for this group of people that's already serving?
Yeah. Mr. Rogers, I say this every time we talk about tragedies, but Mr. Rogers always says, when there is some sort of life altering event, look for the helpers.
Yeah.
Look for the helpers. And you came home yesterday saying that exact same thing. Like, it was really amazing. You drove 3 hours to help.
And traffic was, it wouldn't have been 3 hours, but traffic was horrible.
Yeah.
And it might be because of this new hurricane coming in.
Okay. And so that takes me to the next thing, is that it really shows people's grit and resilience, because it feels like in some of these areas, I think you said Cedar Key.
Yeah, right up in the Gulf.
You know, they had a hurricane a couple of years ago that just wiped out their community. They've been rebuilding, and then this Hurricane Helene comes through, wipes them out again. And now we see today on the news that we have another hurricane, Hurricane Milton, that is headed right for Florida.
Yeah. And you look at a place like Asheville or Atlanta or some of these places that were really hit hard by Helene, and we're getting a visual picture of that on the news. And you think of like a small town like Cedar Key that just gets decimated.
Yes.
I mean, all their businesses, some of their homes, all these things get taken out. They spend 2 years getting like built back up, have that momentum, and they're like, it's go time. It's time to get back to our lives. And this Hurricane Helene comes in and just wipes it all out. And then you look 15 days later or 10 days later, and it's like, there's another one named Milton that's coming right at us.
Who names these anyway? I mean, have you ever met a Helene in your life?
Well, Gertrude is naming them. Aunt Gertrude.
I mean,
Gertrude.
I've met a Helen, but never a Helene.
Helene, she's French.
Yes. And now Milton.
Milton Berle. That's an old name, Milton.
I know.
I feel like my granddad probably had a lot of friends, like a couple friends named Milton.
I've never met a baby named Milton. Baby Milton.
Meet Milton.
Milton.
Unless it's like Milton the Third.
Junior. Milton the Third Junior.
That's right.
Oh, anyway, I'm really proud of you though.
Well,
because, you showed me the pictures and the video, and I opted not to go. And it wasn't because I didn't want to help. I really did.
I don't think it would have been a good environment for you.
And that's what I had decided, is it was already, you see the pictures on the news and you think, ooh. And then I thought, well, what if I can't get around very
You would have been frustrated to no end, which makes me think of people that are in the areas using wheelchairs or using any type of mobility assisted devices, because, I mean, there were mounds of like 7 and 8 foot mounds of sand in the road that they had moved out of the way.
You said a 70-year-old man was just out on his...
the house we were working on belonged to a 70-year-old man, and really all he could do, I think he was just emotionally and mentally drained from it, was sit out next to the road and look at all of his things that were being pulled out of his house.
Oh, man.
And he sat there in a lawn chair under an umbrella and was just kind of in it.
Said goodbye to him.
Yeah.
You said there was mold in the walls, and you had to knock down some walls because they were so full of
Yeah, we
water.
knocked down everything below 5 feet in the house, like everything down to the studs, like carpet, tile, bathrooms, pretty much anything in a bathroom had to come out. Because you think of bathrooms, all the counters are low. You've got the sink, you've got the tub. On either side of that tub typically is a wall where there's going to be drywall or sheetrock or something that's on the side. And so when that salt water comes through, and then when that
you don't even think of it being it's not like it's bath water or rainwater even. This is sludge that comes through,
and it's carrying everything that it's picked up, like as it comes across. And as soon as
think if another hurricane comes through, it's now going to be carrying all the debris that's on the side of the roads, which are mattresses and boards and drywall, moldy drywall.
Yeah, and that's what Governor DeSantis is I think just told people, is like, let's get all the debris cleaned up as best as we can in the next the next 24 to 48 hours before Milton comes in. So we are recording this on Sunday. So that's Milton is scheduled to be here
on
Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, but it's already started raining.
Yeah, it's been raining all day.
It's already started raining. So I feel like
but you could smell it. So that's one thing that the pictures and
Wait, you could smell
everything in the area. So if
when you say smell it, because I'm always intrigued by smells. I love smells.
You've got a nose like a hawk.
I know.
You smell
I'm always
everything.
like, what's it smell like?
What is that?
I know.
Did you have spinach for lunch?
Yeah, like I take off my bra and I'm like, ooh, what's that smell like?
I take off my shoes and she's like, put those back on because I can smell them.
I know. Sometimes I'm in bed. I'm like, did you just take your shoes off?
So imagine all this. So one of the things that I can really relate to is when I would go to the beach as a child.
Yeah.
And we would go to the local oyster house.
Oh.
And you could there would just be mounds of these oyster shells sitting out in the sun or sitting out in the heat, and you could just smell it. And it was like, it wasn't bothersome, but it wasn't pleasant. But you could just walking down the street. So it kind of had
a shellfish smell.
Everywhere smelled like it was a kind of a rotting shell of some type of, like there was a putridity. I don't know if that's a word. It might be. It is now.
You said it so fluid.
Once you put it out there, it becomes a word.
Yeah.
And especially if you put it out there on a podcast.
It was very, there was a putridity about it.
Yes. I'm going to have to Google putridity when I get up. We've said it now 4 times. Putridity. Now, at least 4 times now. It's like that Famundo smell.
It kind of had a rotten
so you've got the mold,
oyster smell with mold,
mildew, mold,
and a little bit of salt water.
Yes, all that together, and
maybe like I've been at the beach working and sweating, and I might need a shower.
And I've got a gangrene sore or something. Yeah, like that.
A gangrene sore.
Yeah.
So you just took it to a whole new level.
Well, because you get hit by like you can pull up a carpet. And this water that's been sitting under there for a little bit is going to smell way different than, it's like opening a box of fart. It's just
a fart and a gangrene sore are two totally different things. I'm just
telling you, it depends on how long that fart's been brewing. And I hate to take this into the potty.
I'm not going to let him go any further.
Okay, I won't get
You can keep listening. I promise to keep this classy.
We won't go any further there, but
it was a bad smell. So you had to wear masks.
We did. We wore masks. And then also just with all the drywall dust and the things that were flying around, you didn't want to suck all that into your lungs just because I don't know what happens. I'm not a doctor.
Okay, let me ask you this. Was there water and electricity and bathrooms facilities? There
were not. So some houses did still have plumbing and water. And most of them, all the electricity was cut off. I didn't see any electricity on the blocks that we were working. They may or may not have had it.
So,
we had generators.
Think about this. We don't think about the problems it causes until you go through it. And then you're like, oh man, I need electricity in order to do that.
And I would have shown up with our circular saw. However, I don't have a generator. So they were like, so 3 people.
How are you going to use that?
Brought generators, and we were running off of generaters. The neighbors had generators, so lots of generators that were put to use, and it was just a constant.
Every hurricane, I always say, "Oh, maybe we should go buy a generator."
I think one time we did.
Oh, I don't know what happened to it. We don't have it now.
I think I ended up selling it on Facebook Marketplace or something like that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I feel like there was a hurricane back, I forget the year, but I feel like I might have gone out and gotten 1 or 2 generators.
You did.
And I was like,
we didn't have room for them.
Yeah, we didn't have room and we didn't get hit that hard.
Yeah.
I think was that the year the people came up from St. Pete to stay here and it totally missed us.
Oh, maybe.
Like it was supposed to be coming right at us. And then it totally missed us. We had some exchange students so that the whole world was looking at our house.
At any rate, I feel like this Milton that's coming, baby Milton.
No,
it's not a baby.
It's Grandpa Milton. He's growing big.
He's category 3 right now.
Well, that's the thing is he just keeps picking up steam. And I thought that Hurricane Helene would have taken some. And I'm not a weather person, obviously, but when a hurricane comes through, there's this. I feel like a lot of the heat would get sucked out of the ocean or out of the Gulf.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
It makes it tamer.
We're gonna have to ask our our number one fan, Sheila, because I feel like she is a meteorologist in one of her past lives.
Yeah, and we could go to our number 2 and 3 fans.
Oh, Amy Sweezy
and Tom Sorrells.
Oh, yes. Okay, so we have a lot
we've got resources.
weather people that listen to this podcast. And my next question is, why are we having such extreme weather patterns?
Well, we know that it's not because of science or global warming.
Okay, now you're starting, you're going down a rabbit hole.
It's just God.
We won't even go there. We won't even go there. Oh, okay. Well, if you are listening to this, be thinking of us this week because...
Yeah, and keep
Florida,
yourself safe.
Keep yourself safe and keep your neighbors in touch.
And recognize that there's always something you can do, and there's always a way to become more of a community. Like, we don't have to wait for a hurricane to be a community, but sometimes that's what shakes us up just enough to make that change. And other than that, keep living lucky.
Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye. If the idea of living lucky appeals to you, visit us at startlivinglucky.com.